Hi everyone. So I decided to hop on here, one because this was a request to give clarification on the understanding of mediation when you're dealing with a very difficult opposing party and give maybe clearer understanding of how you should proceed or move forward in dealing with mediation. And this is in regards to divorce, child custody, child support. Um, the first thing that I would say is if you don't understand the whole process of mediation, please take the time out to get a clear understanding of what mediation is. So, mediation is a tool, it is one of the strongest tools within the family court system. You will not hear that a lot of times from legal counsel because, of course, if you're able to come to a resolution, money can stop, right? They don't like to acknowledge that sometimes, and sometimes that is not in the forefront. Their job and what they're hired to do is not only they're supposed to protect you, but at the same time they're supposed to fight for you. Mediation is not about the fight. If you understand anything or if you hear anything that I'm saying about mediation, I need you to understand this. Mediation is not about the fight. Mediation is about really coming to a solution that you can live with. That's what mediation is about. Now, if you want to do, if you're looking more so for the fight, you might want to negotiate. That means that you might include your attorney, and your attorney goes back and forth in negotiation tactics. But mediation includes a neutral party, and it includes the parties or the opposing parties coming together to come to a solution. So it's about a solution you can live with. Now, a lot of times, and I'll do a different video specifically for survivors or those who they're survivors of domestic violence or abuse. That mediation process is completely different. There are some do's and some don'ts that you should not um, go through, and there's some things that you should not conduct yourself in in dealing with mediation. And you have to understand what type of mediation it is. And I'm kind of briefly go through that now, but I'll try to do a part two to this specifically for survivors of domestic violence. I might do that right after this one. So with this, understanding what type of mediation you need to understand your actual case. So you need to understand the opposing party you're dealing with, right? You need to understand the court that you are in, and you need to understand what they offer. So some family courts, it just depends on the jurisdiction you are in. Some family courts, they offer different mediation for different issues. So, like for instance, you might hear about a type of mediation for child support, right? You might have a different type of mediation. For instance, in California, they have a mediation practice specifically for recommending counseling, right? There's a mediation for dealing with child custody. Then there is, so that type of mediation, a lot of times that is through the courts. They offer it, they have somebody internal that provides that person to be able to try to confer with both parties. A lot of times it is fast paced. It is not an experience that most people enjoy or like. And again, it depends on the mediator. Key point, depends on the mediator. So depending on how the mediator views the process, that's the experience that you will have. Okay. And normally this type of mediation is not expensive. It like I said, it may be free, offered through the court. You have to check with your jurisdiction to find that out. Um, but it is not something where you think that you're going to get in and really begin to explain your needs and what you want and your desires. A lot of times those type of mediations that are held, um, that's not the experience that you will have. Normally, it's very kind of rigid and structured in a certain type of way. And you don't have that freedom to be able to create an agreement or a parenting plan that is conducive to the both parties, right? So just think about that. If you do utilize that, you don't have to utilize um, that mediation style. You can choose to do what's called a private mediation. And a private mediation, that does cost. So you're hiring a private mediator. Um, and and it's not just you. So both parties have to agree to utilize a private mediator. But with a private mediator, you're able, and it's much more flexible. You can explore who and what type of mediator you would like to utilize. Um, it can be an experience that it's not, there are mediators like myself who really focus on much more of a holistic type of experience in dealing with coming up with a plan that fits the both of you, right? Um, and again, who I'm talking to, if you are dealing with domestic violence or domestic abuse within your separation, your divorce, I'm not talking to you. Okay, that's going to be like part two specifically for survivors. So please look out for that. I will post that. But this is specifically for those who are just you don't get along clearly. That's why you're going through a divorce, but you're able to speak or be cordial enough to be able to come to some type of consensus in dealing with child support, child custody. I don't like to use visitation, but child time, right? Um, and so explore, there are options that you don't just have to go through the system with like there are options that are present in dealing with mediation. And then the key to that, especially with private mediation, is identifying what type of mediator you want. So you have the mediator who is a former judge, and they operate their mediations in a much more stringent, structured way. There are mediators who are much more flexible, and there are terms that go with that. For time's sake, I won't do it here, but if you ask or if you're interested in the future, I can give you the terms that you can identify what type of mediator of like facilitative mediator. There are just different types of mediators, and you can find one that fits your family dynamic and what will flow for you in the plan. Okay. So you have mediators who are not attorneys. But they study conflict analysis and dispute resolution. They are educated in it. They are deeply invested in understanding and creating an experience where you can come to a resolution. And so um, like I said, taking that time to truly kind of investigate and find out what type of mediator that you need or your family would need to create a plan. A lot of times people believe that the mediator is like a judge. The mediator is not a judge. The mediator is the person that is supporting you in communicating with the opposing party to come to a plan that you can live with, that you can know. You don't feel like I was just done so wrong. You're not going to in mediation, the expectation of you getting everything that you want is not realistic. Doesn't mean that it's not possible, but it's not realistic. But to get something that you can not only live with, that you need and that you can heal from, right? And to begin the healing process, if you have children, to begin that healing process and trying to create the safe spaces or create a process and moving forward that's effective, like in the sense of um, trying to make this work specifically in the raising and the rearing of your children. So really understand, or I pray what you get from this is that take the time out. Don't just rush. Mediation you don't have to go to trial and fight it out. You don't have to. Like, there is a way for you and the opposing party to be able to sit down. And even if I always recommend, even if you do get along, that mediation is in separate rooms. I believe that is more effective. Um, and it gives both parties time to be able to breathe and to be able to really explore what will best fit for them in this next phase of their life, right? So take the time out. You don't have to just go and just move forward right away. You have an attorney, you turn to the attorney and say, hey, who is going to be the mediator? That is key in the experience. That is so key. So I hope this information was vital to you. I'll try to, if you like, I'll try to go a little bit deeper in understanding. But I will be bringing a part two specifically for uh, survivors of domestic violence and the mediation experience. Um, because it looks completely different. A lot of times they try to put it all in the same bucket and you cannot. It looks different. And even culturally, it can look different. And I'll probably expound on that also. So, okay. I hope y'all have a great one.